Oh my gosh, how I've missed that. Sega! 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 That was such an attitude back in the day. Welcome back, guys. Welcome back to Rob's Arcade, where all the games get played. Welcome back to Rob's Arcade, guys. I'm your host, Rob French, as always, and it is Friday. So you know what that means. It is time to order some pizza from Pizza Hut. Get you a stuffed crust pizza, maybe that Bigfoot everybody's been talking about. Sit back, watch a little Steve Urkel or some Full House, because it is TGIF. No, it's not 1992, 1993, or 4, but we're going to pretend like it is, guys. And it is Friday, so that means it is time for a new Game Friday here on Rob's Arcade. And we're going to jump back into the past with a little bit of Sonic Mania. I'm going to kind of hang out here for a moment, guys. Please bear with me as I talk. It's nice and quiet right here in this menu, so this is a good opportunity just to kind of put your headphones on and walk around while I talk a little bit before we jump into some actual some gameplay. I'm going to talk a little bit about Sonic and Sega as I'm playing, but before I really jumped into this this title, I just find it very ironic that I'm playing a classic style 2D Sega Genesis game featuring their iconic mascot character Sonic on the PS4. It's just very, very strange. Not something you really would have seen back in the 90s. This kind of cross-platform with characters. You wouldn't have seen this really existing back in the 90s. It's really ironic also because I used to really hate PlayStation with a passion. Sony PlayStation in my late teens, 19, 17, 18, 19, 20, like that whole late 90s era when the system first dropped. I really hated the system. You couldn't find me anywhere near a PlayStation. Like I played it a couple of times with some friends, but I really hated the system, and it was basically because I felt like the PlayStation kind of took Sega out of the game. And excuse me, as a kid, I kind of took this to heart because I remember growing up and playing video games and playing Nintendo games and Sega games and seeing the Sony emblem a lot of times on the packaging and on the outside of the carts, and knowing that Sony had a kind of a hand in putting this game together with either Nintendo with Hook and Hudson Hawk or Sega CD and their Bram Stoker's Dracula. And I remember as I heard that Sony was coming out with their own system, I felt kind of like betrayed. Like, Nintendo and Sega had kind of like forged this relationship with, Nintendo and Sega forged this relationship with Sony, and Sony kind of took what they learned from these two companies and just kind of like abandoned them and just went off and kind of did their own thing. And like I said, for years I blamed PlayStation almost wholeheartedly for taking out Sega as a console company, and that's really not the case. And I feel kind of bad now. I went back and I recently just watched a cool documentary called Console Wars, which not only like really depicts the ping pong battle between Nintendo and Sega Genesis in the 90s, but really shows how Sega kind of collapsed and the competition changed face with Nintendo and PlayStation, and then of course later Xbox, and it really does a great job of illustrating that. And I kind of realized that a lot of my accusations were kind of unfounded. And in fact, Sega was kind of responsible itself for kind of getting, pushed aside to the curb. And just if you'll bear with me real quick, I just want to kind of like talk about this real quick because I found it very interesting myself that like Sega and Nintendo are both companies that are really, they're two companies. You have like Sega of America and Sega of Japan, and Sega of Japan put a man in charge of making all the decisions over here in America. His name was actually Tom Kalinske from Mattel. If you don't know who he is, he's very popular in the toy industry. He's known for She-Ra, He-Man, Hot Wheels, everything from Mattel basically. Invented the Flintstone vitamin. Really big player in the 80s and 90s. and he took control of the Sega company here in America and really made it what it is that we know today. And ruffled a lot of feathers in Japan in doing so because he was doing things and trying new ideas that really hadn't been tried in the video game market, but actually really wound up working out quite well. And uh, he actually had a lot of uh, kind of like friction with the president of Sega, Nakayama-san. Uh, but Nakayama kind of put this guy in charge, and so even though there was some friction a lot of times, the Japanese are kind of like people of honor, and so they would basically get upset, but at the end of the day realize like, hey, we put this guy in charge for a reason. Let's let him do what he's going to do. Uh, he was responsible for, coming up with a new mascot for Sega. Hence, here we go, Sonic the Hedgehog. Here we are today with this character, and really made Sega, like I said, like a contender with Nintendo. In fact, I think like Sonic wound up becoming like the number one selling video game, and the sequel spawned, Sonic Tuesday, which I definitely remember that, and that went on to becoming like I think the number one selling video game. So this guy was really, really good at what he did. Um, and as next gen systems were coming out, there was talk of the Nintendo 64 and the Silicon chip coming out, and Tom Kalinske really wanted to take advantage of this, and so he actually began talking with guys from Sony, trying to get something in development, and it only fell through because basically the execs at Sony and Sega of Japan really couldn't agree on like the final product, basically. And I also think Sony realized they were kind of getting like shafted on the deal. Basically, they would come together to produce the hardware and then reap the benefits of their own software. I think Sony realized right away that Nintendo's going to crush them with software, uh, and with the Japanese Sega of Japan not backing them, there was really nowhere for Sega of America to go. Like they really wanted to take this next step and open up this new avenue of gaming, and like they just really couldn't agree on anything. And I feel like after watching this documentary, it was kind of within Sega's company where this kind of happened. Sega of America was much more successful than Sega of Japan. God, I'm sorry if I'm boring you guys. Um, just something about uh, the system took off here in America. It really didn't take off that well overseas. And you have to think about how you look as a face of a company where it's kind of like Darth Vader. Hires this exec to handle a business on another excuse me, another side of the galaxy, and he winds up doing better business than Darth Vader does. And it's just kind of like, how does that look, to the rest of the empire when you have this guy who's in charge of Sega of Japan, and he hires somebody to be in charge of Sega of America, and this company winds up actually being better than your company. And so I kind of feel like there was a lot of jealousy and kind of like some undermining and some cutthroat going on with Sega of America when it comes to Sega of Japan. Um, and trying to get basically uh, the dominant side of the company back in Japan. Um, so in actuality, like I said, in watching a lot of this, I found that it wasn't really anything that Sony did purposely. Like they really wanted to work with Sega, they wanted to develop a system, but when it all kind of fell through, they were like, hey, we'll just go ahead and, if you don't want to work with us, we'll go ahead and develop our own system. And that's exactly what they wound up doing. And then, Sega rushing to try to keep up, put out the Sega Saturn, which we all know was a huge flop. And I think number wise, like they did less than 10 million units. The 64 that year did like over 30 million, so they did like 3 times as much. And then PlayStation when it came out did like 100 million units that year. So it was like, 10 times what Sega was doing, 3 times what Nintendo was doing. And I can't help but wonder if it was like a conscious decision, if the president of Sega, Nakayama-san, was just like, this battle of consoles is going to keep going on back and forth forever, and he was just kind of getting sick of it. Or like I said, if he wanted to kind of get control back in his home court, and so he was like, sabotaging Sega of America for that purpose. But yeah, I feel kind of bad. Like I said, I always kind of hated PlayStation because I felt like, oh man, how is Sega and Nintendo going to compete with this electronics company that's been putting out stereos and TVs for years and years? Nintendo and Sega started off basically as like board game and pinball machine companies. And I think like Nintendo was like putting out playing cards and board games for like 100 years before they took on, the video game industry. And so I just felt like, there's just no way. I remember being a kid and just remembering like there's just no way. Like PlayStation's going to blow them out of the water. There's just the processing and the computes and the bytes and all that go through video games. Like they're going to put out a system that's just going to crush, and that's exactly what they wound up doing. But it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't Sony's fault. This is something Sony wanted to do with Sega, and they kind of missed out. I mean, I can't imagine if like Sega and Sony had teamed up, what would have happened? It would have been something like this. It would have been Mania mode. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into this game here. Got some extras. Not a whole lot going on there, and then a bunch of question marks. Let's go ahead and jump into the Mania mode. Start a new game here. Right, is this kind of like Sonic 2? Now I know growing up, a lot of kids are like, whoa, what was in that burrito? Alright, this is like... Whoa, this is just like Green Hill. Oh, can I get the challenge? Was it 35 rings in 30 seconds? The challenge on Nick's Arcade? Can I get it? They don't know about this. They don't know about this, do they? Oh. 35 rings in 30 seconds. Oh! Got the charge from, 35 rings in 30 seconds. Oh, I missed one. That's so hard. That is like a hard challenge. I love watching Nick's Arcade on Paramount Plus. That's where I also saw the documentary I was talking about earlier. Oh, you. I like watching Nick's Arcade. No. You gotta be kidding me. They have all the old classic games, young kids playing, video challenges. Now, I said I was going to talk about, oh cool, Sega a little bit, and how I came upon Sega. I kind of feel like growing up in the, in like the 80s and early 90s, having like a Nintendo in your house is just like a staple, especially if like you're a white kid in the suburbs. It's just like, I think it came in the mail with like samples of laundry detergent. Whenever you move into your house, you just automatically had a Nintendo. That was just like, oh, nice, everywhere. Sega was actually a surprise. You know, today you kind of get like an idea of like everything that's coming out before it comes out. You get all the whoa, what was that all about? You kind of get like all the specs, the early designs, all the names of what the new system's going to look like. Back when I was growing up, there wasn't a lot of like information. You know, you had like some magazines and stuff, but there wasn't a whole lot of like information for kids on new systems and what was coming out. And so I remember my dad picked up the Sega for us as kids, and we had like no idea what we were even like, you know, looking at as kids. It's just kind of like after dinner, you know, you guys can look this thing up, and I mean, we're just blown away. Like the colors, the graphics. It came with Altered Beast. We hadn't, you know, Sonic hadn't even come out yet, and ironically, my half brother had just played this game at a friend's apartment, like I think a college or whatever. Or not this game, Altered Beast. So he knew like all the hidden ins and outs, and oh wow, cool deal. He showed me how to beat the game that night, and that was something I'd never done before. Was like beating a game like the night I got it. You know, it's just that was something very cool. Oh no! Whoa, you gotta be kidding me. Come on, Tails, help me out, buddy. Yeah, we were blown away the first day we got the Sega system by the colors, the graphics, everything about it. Like, it was just so incredible. It was a cool time to be like, you know, growing up in the video game world, because you had like choice now, two systems. One 8-bit, one 16-bit. And of course, Super Nintendo came out with, Nintendo came out with their answer, Super Nintendo, but honestly, I just never felt like Super Nintendo really had anything to offer until much later in their history. My sister and I used to love, what? Where did that come from? The original Sonic, and in fact, fought over the Sega so much that my dad actually bought a second Sega when they came out with the smaller Sega system. So that way my sister could have her own Sega and just stop fighting all the time. But we still wound up playing in the same room. Like, we still, like, even though we had like two Segas, like, we still like primarily just use one. We still argue. Like I said, I kind of grew up being more of like a Mario guy originally, just because, you know, that was what was available. No, oh my god. There we go. Backtrack a little bit. That was something too about this game, like you could backtrack, which was, you know, Mario, you can only go one way, you know. You just kind of go back, explore, really see what else was available. Do little cool things like that. Whoa. Ah, this is new. Oh, wow. Yeah. Every version of Sonic I've loved. There's a great... Oh no. There was a great version on Sega CD, which I loved. And Sega CD was such a great system. Yeah, I talked about earlier about the Sega Saturn. That was like just so rushed. I really recommend going back and watching that documentary on Paramount Plus. So good. But it kind of really explains like why the Sega Saturn, you know, didn't do well. It was kind of forced onto the shelves. They're trying to compete with 64-bit. I think it was a 32-bit processor, so they put two 32-bit processors in this system, which just made like, I guess, kind of like programming games like almost impossible. Oh, cool. Alright, so I saw one of those earlier. I was wondering what's up this. Oh, sweet! Oh, this is so cool. This reminds me of like Sonic 2. Like the cool bonus levels. A lot of these old games you can use the joystick or the control pad. What do you like to use when playing like old games like this? You use the joystick? You use the control pad? Oh, come on. What is going on? Am I stuck in here forever? So weird. Oh no. That was so bizarre. Anything? No? Oh. What? Oh, that's far on that. Whoa. Yeah, I got through Act 2. Alright, very cool. Oh, the timer just went off. Great time to kind of end this video right here, guys. Thank you so much for kind of hanging out. Listen to me talk a lot and bore the crap out of you guys. Don't go too far. Oh, wow, what is all this about here? below. Very cool. Alright guys, well, again, thank you so much for hanging out. Don't go too far. I'm going to be right back with more gameplay from Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic Mania. Don't go too far. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz down below. Goodbye. To be continued. Thanks for hanging out. I'll be right back, guys.